Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here. For Mr. Nye, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Brennan, the USGS recently reported on the abundant natural gas in Colorado's Mancos Shale Formation. This was the second largest assessment of potential shale gas resources that the USGS had ever conducted. And I'm disturbed to think about our nation's tremendous potential mineral wealth, and at the same time we have reduced exploration efforts in the U.S. So to get at the connection between USGS and exploration, I have a question for you. But first, I have a statement from the USGS on activities to support the nation's understanding of domestically sourced raw materials. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have it submitted for the record. So for you three gentlemen, do you feel that the USGS could be or should be doing more in regard to geological and geophysical mapping or surveys to encourage mineral development in the United States?
Congressman, I'll attempt to address that at least in the first instance, and that is part of what we have long tried to do in this country relative to aggregates and relative to energy and otherwise is find ways as much as we can to be both independent and cost-effective. So if we look at aggregates in the United States today, I mentioned in my opening comments, we sell it for around $12 per ton. It costs about 30 cents per ton to move it by truck. So what that tells you is very quickly when you transport aggregates any reasonable distance by vehicle, you're almost doubling the cost of the product. So knowing where the products are that meet the necessary specifications and that have the quality that are required and that has a low enough overburden over it that it's actually economically accessible is an important thing for states to know. It's an important thing for the United States to know as well, because specifications continue to become more rigorous over time, and the USGS can help in that endeavor.
Mr. Stewart, Mr. Brennan?
I think the key thing is it certainly wouldn't do any harm for that exploration to take place, but equally as well, we need to sort of think about how we can encourage private enterprises, and particularly juniors, to explore as well. And the access to minerals is a key thing that where we need to sort of improve regulatory certainty in that respect. But I think anything that would encourage that, I think would be positive. We've seen over the last 4 years in the U.S. a steady decline in the levels of exploration, and as I mentioned in my testimony, it's a 30% drop last year.
No particular comment.
Okay. Now, Dr. Stewart, I have a question for you. The Kennecott's mine primary purpose is to obtain copper, but while you're doing that, what other metals or elements are discovered and produced as well?
Well, not only do we mine copper, we also mine molybdenum, gold, and silver at the same time. Also, we can extract rhenium. Rhenium is particularly critical for the U.S. defense. It goes into tungsten-rhenium alloys. This is one of the key critical minerals. Also, we found that we can extract tellurium. Tellurium is, when you combine it with cadmium, is 10 times more efficient in converting solar energy into electricity, so 10 times more effective than silicon. So again, we sort of see this as something that's sort of key to the climate change question and improving renewable energy. And we've actually started to work with the Critical Minerals Institute to look at what other additional minerals that we can find in our ore body. And I think this is one of the things that is important to consider. Often copper, in mining for copper, it opens the gate and opens the door to a lot of critical minerals that get used in the U.S. defense sector, but also in much of the electronics that we use that make our life work. All of the mobile devices, the phones that we use.
So tellurium, that's obtained at the same time as the copper is obtained, you said is used in converting solar power to electricity?
Yes, correct.
And rhenium, what's that purpose, how's that used in defense purposes?
You'd have to talk to the Department of Defense. I understand it's just an alloying element with tungsten.
Okay.
And it's used in defense applications.
Okay, thank you.